Throughout the Simpsons Hit Run, there is many aspects to the game which is really enjoyable, but the main thing by far is the vehicles that you can drive.
I am excelente.
There is a
Can't you see I'm driving here?
wide variety of vehicles ranging from the classic to the slow, to the fast, to the absolute ridiculous. So, that's what we're going to be doing in this top 10 list today. So, in this top 10 list today, we're going to be counting down my personal top 10 favourite cars from the Simpsons Hit and Run. Coming in at number 10, we have the rocket car. Now, in the early stages of the game, this car can be found just around the corner from Mr. Burns' mansion, and
I have road rage and I know how to use it.
It is absolutely insane. As far as I'm concerned, I believe this is the fastest car in all of the Simpsons Hit Run, but with speed does come a massive problem.
Oh, I wanted a peanut.
It is as fragile as hell. So, just beware, if you're going to drive this car, yes, it is super fast, but it will probably kill you.
Ow!
And your coins.
Why me?
At number 9, we have the police car. Now, I'll be honest, quite simply, the reason I put the police car on this list was because one of the characters does have police attire, so if you felt like it in game, you could actually act like a policeman and just go absolutely nuts.
Sorry about that. I should pay more attention.
And of course, the horn is an actual... And of course, the horn itself is an actual police siren. So I just think that's quite a funny combination, considering that this game is about avoiding the law rather than being part of it. Coming in at number 8 on this list, we have easily the most expensive vehicle in the Simpsons Hit and Run, the hoverbike. So this is a fairly unique vehicle actually, because this, I believe, is the only vehicle on this list where you can't buy it until you actually complete the game. And it costs 1,000 coins to buy. Now, it's the only bike you can buy as a character in the Simpsons Hit Run. So that's one unique thing there. It's fast and it's very it can be a bit chaotic to drive because of its speed. See, I didn't even touch the control and it just veered to the right.
Ooh, the vibrations tickling my feet.
So yes, this can be a bit of a handful, especially in races. But for a laugh, it's definitely one to buy. Number 7 on this list belongs to the fastest car you can buy outright. It is the open wheel racer.
Time.
So basically this is a Formula 1 car, but obviously they didn't want to get copyright or anything like that. Now I believe the open wheel racer, I believe its appearance was from a Treehouse of Horror episode. Kind of appropriate because the level you unlock it from is actually level 7.
Take that.
So yes, this thing is super fast, but like the rocket car earlier,
I'm not a very good driver.
like the rocket car earlier, it is susceptible to damage. So not as bad as the rocket car. Just make sure you be careful when driving it. And number 6 on this list, we have the Farina or Ferrari. So in the show, this car was given to Bart by Mr. Burns, and it is definitely a very fast.
My ovaries.
It is definitely a very fast edition.
Lisa did it.
Now, I think this car might actually be overall the fastest car for a standard player. Basically, what that means is, I believe this might be the fastest car you get
It's time for some road
for a
rage,
standard
Bart
character.
Simpson style.
However, while it is as good as it is in speed, and also I think it might be a contender for the best looking car in the game, it's not the top of the list, mainly because I think there's just some cars that are cooler than this one. At number 5 on this list, we have arguably the most iconic car on today's list, the car built for Homer. So, for anyone that's been a fan of the Simpsons Hit Run for a very long time, you'll know that this is the car that Homer actually designed for his brother. And eventually, he went bankrupt. So this car is actually a pretty sturdy thing. It's pretty quick, but the best thing about it is, of course, the horn. Yeah, you could just never get tired of that in this game. Especially when you're about to crash into something.
This is not good for my insurance.
At number 4 on this list, we have the smallest vehicle on this list, but easily one of the funniest. The RC Buggy.
Hey, I found my lost
So,
nacho.
this is located on top of the Krusty Burger restaurant, and yes, you can drive in it, but it makes you look like a microscopic human. The only downside with the Buggy, you can't actually change it, you can't actually rotate the camera. But yeah, just the sheer silliness of driving this vehicle is like really weird. Oh yeah, there you can see tiny Homer inside. Just really random, but it is easily one of the funniest vehicles in the Simpsons Hit Run to drive, especially when you decide to try and run over someone. Taking the bronze medal on this list,
No, that's the wrong. You're just very silly. You're a foolish person.
we have the hover car, invented by Professor Frank.
Never have I seen such a four-wheel disgrace.
Now the reason I really like this car is because of 3 reasons. Firstly, it's a car pretty much unlike any other because it goes invisible and it hovers.
Oh, no!
The second reason is that it is really quick. But the third reason is happens to be the driver.
That hurt because I didn't have a good... Ow.
Personally, I think Professor Frank might be the funniest driver out of any of the Simpsons characters.
The landing didn't help anything.
So I remember just playing this for a long time in the past, just using this car. And as you can see,
Wow, that was incredible.
and as you just saw, yeah, this thing is damn fast. Coming in at the runners-up position on this list, we have, for me, the best guest driver car on this list. It is, of course, Snape's Bandit. Now,
Hey, that's totally not supposed to happen.
while I think Professor Frank
for Bart.
is the funniest character, I think
Totally awesome, dude.
Snape is by far the coolest character. Because it feels like he was born for this game. This car is also pretty fast, and the engine noise is really nice as well. And the best thing is, Snape can be used with pretty much any character in the game. It can be used with Marge, Bart, Lisa, Homer, and Apu. And there is quite a few missions actually with this vehicle, so it does have some good value. However, as much as I really like this car, there is one car which is actually
Oh, I shouldn't enjoy this.
there
so
is
much.
actually one car in the game which I think, for some reason, I enjoy using more. And taking the top spot on this list, my favourite car in the Simpsons Hit and Run, we have the 70 sports car. So this is the final default car you get in the game. It's Homer's car from level 7, and I don't know why, but there's just something about it which always brings me back to it. It does have a nice engine noise.
Love to sit.
First of all, it's relatively quick,
USA.
but maybe the main reason is the comedy duos. So you can have Marge driving with Homer, and I believe Homer with Lisa. And it's also a pretty important car in the game as well, because later on Homer does sacrifice it to help defeat the aliens at the church, at the school, round the corner. So, and it's actually, personally, I don't think it's a bad looking car either.
Just call me Air Homer.
So I do think, and also there's a small Easter egg, it also has a bowling ball in the background, reference to one of the shows from in the past. So, while it doesn't have the comedy, while it doesn't have the main comedy of some of the other characters, I do think personally it is my favourite car from The Simpsons Hit and Run.